Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Level Up Your Hiring Process in Retail Automotive. We're excited to have Adam Robinson, our very own CEO, and Brett Kerhofer, our lead solutions engineer, leading today's session. We'll give it about 60 seconds for attendees to join, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, I think we're just about ready to get started. But before I hand it over to Adam, I'd like to quickly cover a few housekeeping items. First, this webinar is being recorded and we'll be sharing the recording along with the full presentation within the next 24 hours. Secondly, we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions you'd like Adam or Brett to answer, please make sure to use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And that should be everything. I'll hand it over to you, Adam.
All right. Thanks so much. And welcome, everybody. It's great to have you here. My name is Adam Robinson. I am the founder and CEO here at Hireology, joined by my esteemed colleague, Brett Kerhofer. And we are excited to take you through a lot of things you may have missed by not being able to get to NADA in an epic snowstorm, or if you got there and didn't have a chance to talk with us, this webinar is for you. So it was absolutely an NADA Expo for the record books 2 weeks ago. Some of you may have made it to the Expo, and if you're able to make it, congratulations. I know you ran the gauntlet of airports, flights, try to get there. It's quite the journey for our team as well, with 35 of us down there. If you're unable to get there, I understand, absolutely. Our goal today is to make sure the experience that you would have had if you talked to us and what we were able to show in the booth at the show is brought to you here at home. So we didn't want to let a little snow get in the way of a good time in showcasing what we launched at the show. So from our partnership with Ford Motor Company nationally, around technician hiring to new solutions to unlock profitability through hiring in your dealership and dealership group and everything in between. So welcome. Let's jump right into it. At the show, our team shared both in the booth and in my workshop unique insights that Hireology's has given the volume of automotive retail job applicants we process for dealerships every single year. It's north of 2 million annually at this point, over more than 5,000 dealerships. So I'll take you through some of those highlights. And then we'll take a look at how those insights fueled some of our new product innovation to make hiring and recruiting not only easier for each of you in each of your stores, but also to leverage a key strategy that can unlock future success in your stores and in your group. So every year, Hireology conducts two studies. One is our employer study that generally happens in the fourth quarter, where we survey all employers using our platform in automotive retail. And the other is our applicant study. Specifically, that surveys job seekers or applicants who have applied to our dealerships using Hireology. So with today's conversation, I'm going to review the results from this year's surveys and how these results filter into what you need to know when it comes to the hiring market right now. The themes that I found in this year's workforce studies from us center around two topics. Number one, what are job seekers looking for when they're looking for a new job? They're shopping for employment. What do they want? Things like pay, benefits, schedule, culture, and so on. And second, what expectations do those job seekers have when it comes to the application and hiring process? And so we're revealing the results with you today for the first time, and I'm excited to do that. But what's most important is, what informs us as to what products we invest in building and delivering to you is really a function of the problems you're facing as employers and as leaders of talent and leaders of dealerships, and what applicants are looking for, and where those where those needs overlap is really where the sweet spot is. So let's talk about this. Okay, first critical data point I want to call out. While the job market continues to be a really interesting one to watch, and we're really just getting the first jobs report in for 2025. What we know to be true is with the introduction of technology, just the way job boards work today, applicants can apply to a lot of jobs at the same time. I mean, it is entirely possible for you to go on to one of the major job boards or leverage technology to apply to hundreds or in some cases thousands of jobs all at once. Unsurprisingly, almost half of our survey respondents applied to 16 or more jobs when they were looking for work. Moreover, looking at the data, about three quarters, 75% were at 10 or more. What that means for us as employers in this industry is that looking for top talent means you're competing with 10 or more other employers three quarters of the time. So the way to think about this is, how am I going to stand out from the 10 or 15 other dealerships that this individual may be talking to or employers that they may be talking to? How do I capture their attention? How do I get them to pick us? What's the product we're going to offer that is going to win their business? Why would they pick you? How can you become an employer of choice? So if we're competing with more organizations than ever before, how can we find a way to remove friction and put ourselves at the top of the stack? Well, first, you've got to remove the friction from the application process. So given that job seekers are applying to so many different opportunities and are looking for their next employer of choice, they will opt out of even trying to work with you just by the fact that your online application takes too long. So, what the survey said is 66% of respondents, they just won't apply to the position if the application takes too long. In a highly competitive market, you'll be losing two-thirds of your applicant pool just by having a high friction application process. What do I mean by that? It could mean that you've got too many fields on your job application. You know, Kind of the max we recommend before we start to see drop off is seven. Uh, if you're using an applicant tracking system that's bundled with your payroll provider, you probably notice that in most cases, in order to apply to a job, they have to create a username and login. Well, those things create friction, much like the car buying process. You add hoops to jump through, your conversion rate just falls way off. So my first assignment for you today, at the conclusion of this presentation, I want you to get out your phone and try to apply to a job at your own dealership or dealership group. And I just want you to note the experience. Is it a seamless online retail experience or is it frustrating? Do I have to retype my resume with my thumbs? Do I have to re-enter information that is already in my profile? Do I have to create a username and login? If the answers to any of those questions are yes, that's a conversation we'd love to have with you. So not only do they want the amount of time in the application to be really low, they don't want it to be tedious, meaning they're just not going to apply if you ask them double information. So I mentioned retyping their resume with their thumbs in my previous comments. Here's the number: 47% will just drop out of the process if you are going to make them retype their work experience that is already on their resume or online profile. It's like, you already have this information. Why are you making me write this down again? You're competing with 15 other employers. You don't want to be the one that's hard to do business with. You want to be the one that's easy to do business with. And finally, who likes creating usernames and passwords? I alluded to this a couple slides back. Here's the data. 37% of applicants coming to your career site will just drop out of the process if they have to create a username and password in order to apply. Usernames and passwords are good for you as the employer because it makes it easy to bring that person into the payroll system. But we're not designing a process ideally that's built around making it easy for payroll administration, although it shouldn't be any harder. We're designing a process that's around ease of use and building a great experience for the job seeker. And so, as an employer, that's what we need to think about. Am I rolling out the red carpet in a digital experience that maximizes the opportunity we have at this dealership of bringing in the talent we need to stay staffed? We just have to eliminate those bottlenecks. So, let me summarize what we just talked about. Today's job seekers got a lot of choice. And while you may not be looking to hire the same volume as in the past, or focused, maybe you're trying to focus only on the highest quality applicants, you still need to manage your recruiting and hiring funnel like you do the rest of your dealership processes. So, said differently, and many of you may have heard me say this before, jobs are products. A job is a product, and we're going to retail that product digitally, just like we digitally retail vehicles and service and parts. I mean, no industry is better than ours at removing friction from the online buying process for a product of this price point. Your digital dealership operations, you've already analyzed your lead forms, you've optimized your BDC. Someone sends in a lead on a VDP, and you're calling them 5 seconds later. All of that needs to hold true with your recruiting process. So let me pose this to you differently. In today's talent pool, you can you afford rather to cut yourself off from the best candidates in your market because you've got to log in a gated job application? The answer is no. You cannot do that. I mean, you just can't afford to lose 2/3 of your funnel because of a process designed to help your payroll intake work more effectively. There's ways to do that without crippling your applicant conversion rate. Um, you don't want to lose half the market because you're asking them to repeat something that they've already given you. And you don't want to cut out your top applicants for any of these reasons. And so when you do your self audit, keep that in mind. So, in addition to removing friction from the start of the application process, speed is the currency when it comes to pulling these candidates through successfully and winning over the others who are trying to employ them with as much intensity as you are. So today's applicant has been conditioned by the consumer internet on the speed of response that they should expect. So more than 50% of your candidates expect their first interview with you to happen within 72 hours of applying for the job. So ask yourself, what's the average response time you or your team have for a job applicant? How quickly do we get people into interview? You might not know the answer to that question, and so now you know exactly where to start. If you're not hitting that 3 day or 72-hour benchmark from application to interview scheduled, you are losing out to those who are moving quicker. Another way to think about it, I'm sure your dealership, and if you run a BDC, they track how fast leads get responded to. um, it's no different in recruiting. Recruiting is a selling process. We should be tracking how quickly we're getting back to people who are providing leads for us and as a potential employee. So today's applicant expects it. It's become table stakes very, very, very quickly. In addition to the expectation of speed, they want to hear from you often. So if jobs are like products, then recruiting is, as I said, sales and marketing. Your lead wants to know that you care about them, that you're invested in bringing them on board, and that you're more than just a paycheck. You're a place that's going to appreciate and value them and their time. So the way you show that on the recruiting side is through consistent communication. Today's applicant expects, they're telling us this, to hear from you at least every 2 days. If they're in your process from application to offer, if you're waiting more than 2 days between updates, your no show or ghost rate goes through the roof. So almost 60% of today's applicant pool wants to hear from you in 3 days or less. Only 1 in 10 say once a week is fine. Yet that's where so many dealerships live. They bring someone in for an interview and days go by, or they have an initial phone conversation with a potential candidate, and days go by. You really want to give 24 to 72-hour turnaround. And if you're missing that mark, just know you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. So you're all saying, I'm sure this is great information, but I told you we talk about how how this unlocks competitive advantage and revenue. Well, I'll walk you through here in a very simple example how removing friction in this process and driving a process that's speed-based can unlock financial impact. So, what you have here is what we call our benchmark slide. This is the hiring process from I need to open a position through to I have made a hire. And let's start at the top. Um, the benchmark number one, from the time someone applies to the time they're hired, the applicant is expecting that to go in 2 weeks or less. So that's the most amount of time we have. If we want to be great at this and beat the market, we need to be operating from application to hire within 2 weeks. We call that metric time to hire, the time from the application to the time the decision is made. The next metric is what we call time to first outreach. That is the time between the application and when I reach out to schedule an interview. More than 50% of the job seeker market says that benchmark needs to be 3 days or less. So you've got 72 hours between the time they apply and the time you reach out to schedule a next step. And then you go all the way back to the beginning, and the first step is the time to review. That's the amount of time it takes from I have applied to someone has looked at my resume. I mean, we're really zeroing in on 24 hours as the benchmark. That number is steadily declining. I'd like to think, we had some small part in helping that happen in the industry. But when Hireology entered the automotive retail space, over 10 years ago, average time to review was about 8 days. How many cars would you sell if you waited 8 days to get back to an internet lead? Right? The correct answer is 0 days, or zero cars, rather. You would not sell a vehicle if you took 8 days to get back to a lead, but that's the way the industry was operating. Today, our customers are in that 3-4 day average range. 72 hours is really the cycle you got to hit on outreach, which means your time to review really needs to be same day or within 24 hours. There's got to be a process for reviewing the potential qualification level of leads immediately. So let's look at an example from your service department. According to NADA's mid-year report from June of last year, your average parts and sales, service sales for a dealership on an annual basis runs about $9 million. Your average dealership wrote about 16,000 ROs at an average order RO size of $571. Your average dealership had 16 techs on the payroll, which is 985 ROs per tech. Means you're getting about between 3 and 4, closer to 4 ROs a day on a 5-shift week. You do all that math, your technician is producing about $2,100 of revenue per day. So per tech per day, about a $2,100 run rate. The other way to look at that is for every day my hiring process takes, I am losing $2,141, right? So if I can speed my process up and measure that in days, in this example, a 3-day reduction in time to review. It just means that I'm sitting in an inbox as an applicant 3 days less, which means you've interviewed me 3 days earlier. You've made the hiring decision 3 days earlier. It means I'm on your roster 3 days earlier. It means I'm billing 3 days more. And at $2,100 a day, if we're shrinking our cycle time from 5 days to 2 days, we just put $6,400 of revenue opportunity on the board per head, per head. So let's say you hire 3 or 4 techs a year at a store, $24,000 of opportunity add back. You've got 10 stores. You can see how this adds up very, very, very quickly. You can run the same math for service writers. You can run the same math for new and used vehicle sales resources. There is a direct line between recruiting speed and efficiency and dealership profits. And for most dealerships, this is one of the biggest untapped ROIs on the board for them to take advantage of. And everything we were talking about at this year's NADA really centered around and focused on leveraging speed and efficiency in the hiring process to drive bottom line impact. And it's really influenced solving those problems and giving that opportunity, economic opportunity back to the dealer body is really what gets us excited and is really our focus. And so I'm going to turn things over to Brett, who's going to take you through our most recent product releases and what we showcased at the convention this year, and then we'll open it up to questions. So Brett, take it away.
Thanks so much, Adam. Happy to be here. Like Adam said, there's a lot of things that we are focused on with the market, listening to our customers, listening to our applicants, and we're taking that information, we're taking that feedback and building products around that, focus on the auto industry to help organizations drive speed to hire. So one of my favorite things to do at NADA is meet with customers, meet with prospects who know us or have seen the product before, and talk about what's new year over year. Hey, it's been a year since last NADA. What have you guys launched? And we've been busy at work on all those fronts. So let's go ahead and dive into some of the things that have recently been launched. I'll give you some highlights here, and then I'll also pop out and do a live demo here. One of the first things that you're going to notice if you see Hireology is an updated look and feel. So what this screenshot is showing you is what we call the old Hireology or the old look. And what we wanted to do was optimize the way this looks, feels, and operates for users within the system. And what we've done is taken a lot of the functionality and moved it to what you see as an open space on the left-hand side. We call it our new left navigation. And now you have a much cleaner, more optimized look to Hireology. So it's all around the ease of use. One example I want to call out is, let's say I'm a user and I want to go look up my disposition codes. Previously, what I would have to do is click into my profile, then I click into my settings, and then I click into disposition codes, right? That's 3 or 4 different clicks. That's 3 or 4 different pages. Now, what you'll be able to do is just come down here to this little gear shift, hover over that, and click straight into disposition codes. So just an example of one way that we have taken what used to take 3, 4 clicks, a couple pages, now down to 1 click on the same page that you're already on, making it a lot easier to navigate throughout the Hireology platform. You can see here that this left navigation, all of these sections are labeled. If you want to collapse it and make it even easier, less wording here, you can do that. That's a user preference thing that I think is nice. But perhaps most important is that we've kept the key functionality at the top that you should always have access to. And that's our search bar in our inbox tool. So the search bar, there's no navigating to a certain page to do that. Wherever you are in the app, that is going to be available for you right here to do our global search on. And of course, we know how important it is to get in front of people and get in front of people quickly. So managing your text, your emails, you don't have to navigate to a certain page. We're keeping our inbox right here, right on your homepage at the very, very top. So that's our new look and feel to Hireology, available to all customers today. Another product release that we had was an enhancement to our career site design and templates. Earlier, Adam mentioned that auto-specific applicant study, and he stated that right about 43% of applicants are applying to 16 or more jobs in their search. So the importance of standing out and differentiating yourself has never been higher. And what you're going to notice with these new templates, with these new designs, is that there's going to be more options for customizing font, customizing background colors, elements that can match your branding specifically. We've made it more optimized for mobile, for iPad, so think reduced scrolling and easier to see on different size screens. We've SEO optimized these sites to be better on search engines. There are more template options, like I mentioned. You can do things like videos, map display, right? A lot more content than you can add on in here. And the reason why this is so important is right about 45% of applicants will look at a company's website before deciding to apply. They want to do research. They want to see what's in it for me. What can this company offer me besides just a paycheck? Is it benefits? Is it career pathing? This is your chance to tell your story, and now you have more options to do so with this new design and template. We've also updated our offerings when it comes to the Hireology mobile app. So what we know to be true and what you can absolutely agree on is that hiring managers in the retail automotive space are not behind a desk all day long. They're on the move. They're on the sales floor. They're in the parts department. They don't have time every single time someone applies to run to a computer and log on. So we need to give them easy access to review applicants, communicate, and move them forward in a process wherever they are. We've now updated full functionality to our Android app. So features like getting notified when an applicant applies to jobs, reviewing their information on the go, communicating with them via text, via email, and moving them forward in the process. All functionality available directly within the Hireology mobile app for Android. We've also increased SSO and MFA options to make the login process easier and more secure for those of you who have options to do that. All right, this is about everyone's favorite topic to talk about today, but how are we leveraging AI to help you hire better and faster people? I think one thing that Hireology is really focused on is responsible ways to bring AI into our tech, right? The decision to hire someone is still a very human decision and still should be a very human evaluation. However, we know that throughout the hiring process, there are tedious tasks that take time. And that's exactly where we are looking for AI to come in and help take those tasks off your plate. So you'll see in the Hireology app, you now have AI-enabled content generation when it comes to doing things like job descriptions, email messaging and replies, offer letters, templates throughout the creation process, and also our career sites. You can see that wherever you are in this page, you can use our little AI bot, ask it for a little prompt. Hey, write me a job description. It'll pull it up for you. You can insert that exactly as it is. You can tweak it a little bit, or you can ask it to try it again and generate another response for you. So when we think about ways that we are leveraging AI, it's all about helping you make your job, make your task easier and faster directly within the Hireology app. And one of my favorite releases is our new Action Center. I'll show this here in a live demo in a minute, but a couple things I want to come out that you're seeing on the page here. Adam mentioned that more than 50% of applicants expect to be in an interview process in 3 days or even sooner. And 38% of those applicants accept the first offer that they receive. So speed absolutely matters, and speed to outreach is one of the most important metrics that customers can focus on to drive down that time to hire. So Action Center was built to help recruiters, to help HR professionals identify locations, departments, jobs that need attention, and then give them the ability to take action, quite literally, directly from one screen when you log in. Ultimately, this is what's going to speed up the time to review in order to get people in the door faster. Now, customers have been adopting this and really liking what they see. And a couple results that I want to share with this group here, the impact that Action Center has had. You see here, there has been a 10.5% reduction in time to hire by customers using Action Center. And a driver of that is the fact that there has been a 24% reduction in time to review by customers who use this on a daily basis. So we've launched the product, we've measured the impact that it's had for customers, and you can see the direct impact on getting more people in the door, reviewing them faster, and getting them hired and working for us faster. All right, let's go ahead and pop out and take a quick look at the Action Center in action. Here is the Hireology app here. Now, when you log in, Action Center can be set as your home screen. As well, it should be. A couple key metrics that you want to focus on. You can view all jobs, you can view pinned jobs, and you can view any jobs that have a delayed time to review. I want to pop in and show you functionality on each of these. If I click into all my jobs, what you're going to see is my ability to see all the jobs across all the locations that I might be overseeing, right? I've got about 12 jobs open right now. I can see what the role is, where it's open, right? What location. I can see how many applicants, how many candidates, right? The pipeline of where we're at in that process, who the hiring manager is. And if I want to drill it down and focus on a few different ways to look at this data, I can certainly do that. So you can see here that I can sort by location or store. I can sort by department. I can sort by the visibility. Is it internal? Is it public? Again, location, also hiring manager. So if I want to say, you know what, just show me, Phil's job, I can apply that filter and customize this view to exactly what I want to look for. Reset my filters, brings me right back to the start. The other nice thing that we have is the ability to pin jobs, right? So if I want to come in and say, you know what, techs are hard to find, I should always be hiring for techs. They're perhaps one of my most important roles when it comes to opportunity to drive more revenue. I'm going to pin my service tech jobs here because when I log in, I want to make sure that I am always looking at my tech jobs. This can give you the most important jobs available to you so that when you log in, quite literally front and center is your pin jobs, is access to your most important roles that you should be focusing on. And if you click in, you can see what's going on here. Again, pipeline, who the hiring manager is, and get a status update. The other important report here is any job that has a delayed time to review. Excuse me, let's go back. So we have an issue, okay. Let's do this. What the time to review will give you is any jobs that have a delayed time to review more than what you want them to be. So if I do this, let me go ahead and pull this up. I'll show you an example. Here we go. We go into our delayed time to review. What we can do is set the parameters that we want. So if it's important for us to be reviewing every single applicant within 1 day, you can save those changes and you can see all the jobs here that go beyond what they should be. Now, Brett Kerhofer's been complaining about hiring. I can see that he has 7 unreviewed applicants. The Action Center is nice because I can click in right here and I can take action and bug Brett about this right from the centralized page. So I can say, you know what, Brett, review these right now. I can ping Brett, he can get notified, and that way you can take action, notify your people of the most important things in your hiring process right from one centralized location. All right, the other thing that I want to show you all here today is our new location picker. Now, what I want to show you is an example of I'm in our candidate section. Now, previously, if I wanted to toggle between locations, I'd have to pop into the Locations tab, select the location that I want to work through, and then go back to the page that I want to see for that specific location. What Hireology has now launched is a new location picker up at the very top right. So if you're someone who is engaged and oversees multiple locations, it is far easier to toggle between locations and get to where you need to be. All I have to do is say, you know what, let's pop into our West location. I can do that, and it takes me to the exact same page in the West location. All right, all looks good here. Let's pop back into our East location. And I can see that here. So again, what used to take a couple different pages, maybe 3, 4, 5 clicks to get to the same page, location to location, is now taking us 1 click, right? Tell us where you want to go, and we'll load the page from that location there. So location picker, again, enhancing the ability to navigate across multiple locations for owners and operators in the Hireology system. All right, last but not least, I want to talk through our new insights reporting function. This was far and away the buzz of the Hireology booth if you were there, but we have enhanced our reporting tool to give you the ability to see reporting in a much more granular level, but also give you the ability to change and toggle and customize the reporting really in a lot of different ways. So we'll first highlight hiring velocity, right? How quickly are we getting people through the process? Like Adam mentioned, a couple of these key metrics you should always be reviewing and always keep top of mind. And that is time it takes to review people, the percentage of applicants that are being reviewed, How long does it take us to hire? How long does it take us to fill the role? Of course, we can benchmark you against the industry average to help you understand this metric. Is it a competitive advantage for you or an opportunity for you to be better? If I continue to scroll down, you can see time to first outreach, time to first interview conducted and scheduled. You can see it here on the right-hand side. What's also nice is I can start to see trends over time. These KPIs, are we consistently hitting the mark? Are we getting better or hopefully not decreasing over time? We can see that here based on the parameters or time frame that you set. Now, I think one of the biggest features within the Insights tool that I talked about with owners and operators at NADA was the ability to alert you when something is not going the way you want it to. And so the example I always give is right now, our time to review is 1 day. That's great. However, if I ever start to see that creep up to more than 2 days, I want to know about it. Well, previously I could log in, I could always have that information at my hands, but what's nice is all I have to do now is click on this little notification, this little alert symbol, and we can now be proactive about telling you when there is something wrong within your hiring process or a KPI is not being met. So what you can do is say, show me an email and send me that notification anytime the average time to review is greater than 2 days. If it ever creeps up past that, I want to know about it. You can customize notification settings for you and your other users at the group. Then we can dig into sourcing performance. So if all the sources we're pulling applicants in from what's driving results, what's working well for quality, what's working well for hires, we can still see out this information. I can look at total applicants, number of candidates, which are people that are qualified, how many declines I have, and how many hires I've made. If I want to know hires, what's also nice is I can click directly into this report and see that data again load for me. I made 31 hires. Okay, great. But for what role, across what location, where did they come from? If you click into that tile, the data is going to load for you. So you can see a breakdown hire by hire with all their information at your fingertips right here. So again, just an example of that much more granular level look of this data. Again, trends over time. I can see applicants by source, hires by source. It might feel good that a source is giving me a ton of volume for applicants, but what matters is, are they converting to hires? I can also see conversion rates down here, right? If it's my job to allocate recruitment dollars across different stores, I want to know what source is proven to drive the highest ROI. It's good to look at applicants, but probably what matters is it driving hires and what's the conversion rate? We can help you measure that information right here within our new insights. Then we can dig into hiring steps, so specific parts of your hiring process, what's working really well, a breakdown of where everybody is at in the process from applicants all the way to offer, decline, and hires. I can see interviews percentages. I can see offer letter completions. If you bring your background checks in and use those through Hireology, we can give you status updates, tell you where people are at in that funnel. Of course, reference checks and onboarding status here as well. So a breakdown in more detail to your actual hiring process. We can measure that here. And of course, user activity. So how well is your team actually using the system, and are they using it the way that you intend? An example I give is Joe is crushing it. He's doing great. We see a lot of hires, and that's good to know because we can tell that Joe is really leveraging our texting feature. We know that texting is the best way to get in touch with people and get in touch with them quicker. If Brett's struggling and you log in and you see Brett's not using any text, where there's the opportunity for him to be better. There's an opportunity for you to coach him, leverage the Hireology team to make sure that he's using the system the right way. And then last but not least, one thing I'll touch on and leave you with is the ability to schedule dashboards to be sent to you. So if you and your team meet on a monthly or even a weekly basis, and you want all this data proactively sent to you for that meeting, or maybe you just want to know what's going on with hiring every Monday morning when you walk in at 8 a.m., all you have to do is schedule a delivery of this dashboard to be sent directly to you. You can choose what cadence you want. If you want it every single week, on Monday at 6 a.m., you can do that. And then you can choose what format as well. Do I want it to be a PDF, a zip file or a visualization table. So again, allows Hireology to be much more proactive in how we are delivering data to you so that you can be informed of what's working and where do the opportunities lie to be better with your hiring process. So this is our new insights. It's in beta right now. Customers are loving it, and we'll be launching it here in the coming months. All right, I wanted to take you through the demo of those features here, but now I'm going to kick it back to our friends in marketing and Adam and myself to go through any questions that this all group might have submitted.
Yeah, so we've got a little bit of time left over, so we'll open the floor to some questions. Feel free to drop any you might have into the chat or the Q&A, and we'll get to as many as we can, but I'll kick it off with a few that have already come in. I think this one might be for Adam or Brett. Where do you see companies get slow in the hiring process? If we already automate things, where else can we find speed improvements?
Well, it depends on where you're automating and what you mean by automating. I think the single biggest bog down is one of two places. It's either the time to the initial review by either the recruiter, if you have a dedicated recruiter at your store, or to the manager. Just that 1 to 2 day lag opportunity. That's the best, fastest thing you can do to speed it up is you just go faster there. And automation around that initial response rate is something that our platform helps you do. I don't know, Brad, if that's consistent with what you're seeing, but I mean, almost inevitably, when we are working with a new dealership or dealership group, what we find when we audit the process is there are days that go by between steps that our technology can help shrink those gaps and cut days off the cycle.
Yeah, I also totally agree with that. I also think the step after that is typically getting them in the door scheduled for interview. There are interview scheduling tools that Hireology has to automate that process that drives down the time to offer by right about 30%. So you can leverage automation to, once you've contacted somebody, get them in the door quickly, and then also automate the process to remind them of the interview. It's great that we get them in the door, but go a step further, leverage automation to remind them that you're excited to talk to them. Here's where to go, what to bring, see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. Even automating the process to remind people can decrease the interview no-show rates by about 20%.
Great.
I'm on mute, Brett. While we're getting questions in, if you want to flip to the actual demo page, we can show it as we talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's next, Tara?
Yeah, so Katie said, I understand speed's important, but can't you run the risk of not properly vetting someone?
Importantly, we say speed, but we don't mean sacrifice quality. The answer to your question is yes. You don't want to go back to the fog of mirror test and hire anyone with a pulse who can pass a background check. I mean, that's just not. That's just that our industry is evolving past those days, and we've been past that for some time. But I know the pressure you're under to fill seats, and so you've got to go as quickly as possible without sacrificing quality. And our approach is designed to help you do that. There's no sacrifice in quality in moving from I'm looking at someone, let's get, I like them, let's get them scheduled. What we're talking about is you review a resume or application, you may do that immediately, ship it off to your fixed ops manager, and your fixed ops manager sits on it for 4 days. That has nothing to do with candidate quality. He or she is busy, legitimately filling ROs and doing the thing that he or she is supposed to do as a priority for the dealership. But that 4 days is critical time. And so we're talking about just shrinking the gaps. And as Brett showed you in Action Center in our new release, giving you or whoever in your organization is responsible for keeping the recruiting machine running, giving them alerts that like, hey, Brett applied for this job a day ago. No one's got back to him. It'll give you that alert. So it's not shoving them through a process just to hit a speed target, but it's designed and instrumented to give you the tools you need to know when it's not going as fast as it could be. Brett, anything to add to that?
Yeah, what you're looking at here is the interview scheduler. should wrap it up with the last message. But like Adam said, keeping them informed throughout the process. They might think they're doing well. They might not even notice that there is an opportunity to reach out to two or three more people. So they're not at their desk all day. They're busy in other parts of the business, sales floor, the service department. Let the system be proactive for them to notify them when there is opportunity for them to take action.
Great. We've got another question in the chat from Aaron. They asked, can you have multiple managers view a single job posting? We have managers and team leads who are both a part of the process and would like them both to be able to view applicants at the same time.
Yes. When you create a job, you can select who you want to have access to that job. It's adding your hiring team. So if I want to add Adam, he is now a part of the hiring team. He has access to see the applicants and the candidates in that job. That's something that you select. You can add as many people as you like to be part of that hiring process for visibility.
And
And
then
I would say importantly, if they're not an administrative level user, the only thing they see are jobs they opened or jobs to which they are a member of the hiring team. So you don't have to worry about who can see what. The system gates all of that for you.
well, and then they also asked Aaron, can you see if an applicant has applied to multiple positions?
Yes, you can. If I click into
Asking the question as if candidates like to apply to every dealership 3 times and hope you don't notice, you're going to get in some way.
Yeah, I think there's a repeat applier at our service tech job at the North location. Let's take a peek. That's something we see happen a lot, whether they've applied to multiple jobs at the same time or they've applied to jobs, 6 months ago, a year ago. We do flag that, and that's where you see this little person symbol ×1, easy indicator for you and your team to know, hey, Peter Quill, he's applied to one other job. Yes, he applied to our auto service tech, but he's applied to one other job previously. Let's just take a quick hover over that to see what happened. He applied to the other location back in January. We declined him. So maybe let's check to see why. Obviously, he scored a 25% on the survey. Probably not a good fit. Before we waste time looking at their information or calling them, it's just an easy indicator that, hey, this person's not a good fit. Let's decline them and spend our time with the more qualified people that we have in the funnel.
Great. Well, that is a wrap on our Q&A. I'm not seeing anything else in the chat, but just want to say a huge thanks to Brett and Adam and to all of you for your great questions. Before we go, we'd love your input. We're running a quick survey to dive deeper into the future of hiring in the auto industry, and your feedback would be a huge help. It only takes a few minutes, and as a thank you, you're going to be entered to win one of 5 $100 Amazon gift cards. So you can scan the QR code on your left to take the survey, as we'd really appreciate your insights. And then if you'd like to continue the conversation or if you have any questions, we'd love to connect. You can scan the QR code on the right if you're interested in a demo, or reach out to us anytime at info@hireology.com. We'll also be sending a follow-up email in the next 24 hours, which will have a recording of today's sessions and a download of the applicant study, which we talked about today. So keep an eye out for that. Again, thank you everyone for your time today, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.